The Humans Got FTL by Mercury the Dealer. FTL is complicated. As it turns out, the universe does not enjoy having its laws broken, and so empires need to get creative when making FTL. Some, like the Porviet, decided that they would use portals, create a stable-ish tear in space-time, and you can go to whatever portal yours is attuned to in basically an instant. It's the galactic equivalent of a bullet train, efficient, gets you everywhere quickly, but it's expensive. Believe it or not, building a giant portal the size of a continent isn't easy or cheap, and that doesn't take into account how breaking it destroys the entire system's connection to the rest of the empire, which is why only well-protected and established systems get one. There are also people like the Deritas. Instead of creating a tear through which two or more points in space-time touch, you can simply contract and expand space around you with a hyperdrive. It sounds like the perfect solution until you realize that in order to get enough energy for the thing to work, you will need to collect and store a gigantic amount of fuel, usually in the form of hydrogen or helium. Good luck colonizing a system without at least 3 Alpha-class giants in it. And by the way, activating the drive with anything in the way will be like getting shot by a Class 5 railgun, so you will be stuck at non-FTL speeds while inside the system. Most empires learn to use both technologies. Portals for well-established and growing colonies, and hyperdrives for military vessels and other things that just don't require much permanence. Most. There is one empire, one species to be exact, that decided they were too good for any of that. Humans. Humans weren't very lucky. They were born in a small system with only 2 worthy gas giants, and even those were far from big. Normally, that would mean they would develop portal tech and adopt hyperdrives later. But the apes were far from normal. We first met through one of their scouting vessels. The first obvious sign that something wasn't right was its size. It was too small to be carrying a common hyperdrive. In fact, the entire thing was smaller than a common hyperdrive. So we assumed that it must be a pre-FTL ship. Send the crew into the void while in cryostasis, and hope you find something. Except that cryostasis ships don't teleport around in the current system, do they? Well, this one was doing just that. Speculation exploded in the scientific community. The ship wasn't pre-FTL, that was for sure, and unless it could hide a continent-sized megastructure, then it wasn't a portal technology. But how could something that small fuel even a basic hyperdrive? Turns out, it couldn't. Apparently, when faced with the challenge of how to travel faster than light, humanity decided that portals were way too expensive and hyperdrives too slow. So, what did they do? They created star core engines. The concept is simple. Well, at least as simple as something that bends all laws of physics to their limit can be. You launch a very small space anomaly, which your star core engine is synced with, at your target location at whatever speed you feel like using. When the anomaly reaches the location, you activate the engines and hope to whatever you think as holy that the instant teleportation doesn't fuse you with your nearest crew member. Simple. Effective. The versatility of the hyperdrive fused with the efficiency of the portals. So, we naturally ask how they made it. What they told us made the entire galaxy collectively gasp in sheer disbelief. When making these drives, there are 2 main problems to consider: how to fuel the engines, and how to make a stable anomaly. Turns out, the humans found the answers in the exact same place: inside living stars. The sheer density and extreme conditions of the core of the star makes physics somewhat flexible. They use that flexibility to make the anomaly generators. On the other side, stars are a pretty good fuel source, especially their cores. So if you're taking the core for the anomaly generators, might as well take some for fuel. And that brings us to why no one could believe their respective auditory receptors when the humans started explaining how their drives worked. How in the name of the void are they getting their hands on the cores of stars? Autonomous drones? No. The electromagnetic fields of the stars will destroy any particularly sensitive circuits. That includes most components for advanced AI. Piloted drones? No. While the electromagnetic fields might not destroy them, the signal delay after entering the star would be too great for the drone to be useful. Planet crackers? No. Not only are those illegal and immoral, but they also wouldn't do much on the account that stars are, believe it or not, bigger than planets. A giant star-sized planet cracker? No, those are myths made by the humans to scare people. Probably. Also, the objective is to mine the core, not destroy it. So how do they do it then? Simple. They send people. They send people. Star core samplers. Men and women who risk their lives every day by entering a giant metal tube surrounded by an inconceivable amount of heat dampeners and launch themselves at the nearest star. Most of the heat is collected by heat portals, as they call them, essentially a thin space anomaly shaped to fit around the ship, and send the heat to wherever they want it to go. If you ever saw a map of human space and wondered why that one bright dot isn't marked as a star, then congratulations! You just saw one of their heat dumping grounds. Anyway, after launching into the star, the samplers just sit around waiting to get to the core, and hoping that the heat dampeners don't decide to take a break. Once they do get to the core, they release the piloted drones to collect as much of the core as possible, and then they make their way back, as if they didn't just enter the most dangerous place in the galaxy, short only, perhaps, to a black hole. If you ever wondered why no one dares touch human space or challenge them, politically or otherwise, it isn't just because their drives are better than any other, or because they are the only supplier of star core fuel in the entire galaxy. No, those things pale in comparison to their real advantage. Humans are willing to break into stars to achieve their goals. Void have mercy if they make killing you their goal.